Program Bachelor of Science, third year, subject Physics, semester 6, course code PYC 110, part B, course title Introduction to Spatial Theory of Relativity. My name is Dr. Kapil Yashwant Salkar, Assistant Professor of Physics from Parvatibai Chaugule College of Arts and Science, Margao, Goa. So this is Unit 8, Relativistic Kinematics, module name Aberration and Doppler Effect, Part 2. Outline Aberration and Doppler Effect, Part 2. Learning outcome, student will able to learn about the aberration and Doppler effect in relativity. Aberration and Doppler effect, part 2. So in the last part we have derived the two equation. Okay, so now we have to check that the formula reduced to the classical one. Okay, so mu is very much less than c. We can neglect the term higher than the first order in nu by c or beta, and the first order result should be the classical one. So from equation 8b we get nu is equal to nu prime into square root of 1 minus beta square divided by 1 minus beta cos theta, approximately equal to nu prime divided by 1 minus beta cos theta. This is approximately equal to nu prime 1 plus beta cos theta. So this is the classical result. For theta is equal to 0, which corresponds to the observer in S frame, seeing the source moves towards him or he is moving towards the source. So we get nu is equal to nu prime 1 plus beta cos theta. This is equal to nu prime into 1 plus nu by c. Okay, so this shows that the observer, this shows that the observed frequency mu is greater than the proper frequency nu prime. Okay, for theta is equal to 90 degree, where the line of straight is perpendicular to the relative motion, there is no Doppler effect classically, that is mu is equal to nu prime. So all these first order results are classical effect. If nu is not small compared to c, we should observe a relativistic effect, okay, which is the second order. So we have to imagine that this effect individually as a longitudinal and a transitive. So we have to imagine that this effect individually as a longitudinal and transverse one. So for longitudinal Doppler effect in relativity, we utilized equation 8b and set theta is equal to 0 or theta is equal to 180 degree. Okay, that is nu is equal to nu prime into square root of 1 minus beta square, the whole divided by 1 minus beta cos theta, with theta is equal to 0, okay, which signifies that a source and an observer moves toward one another. Okay, we obtain nu is equal to nu prime into square root of 1 minus beta square divided by 1 minus beta square. This is equal to nu prime into square root of c plus v divided by c minus v. This is equation number 9. For theta is equal to 180 degree, okay, which signifies that when theta is equal to 180 degree, source and the observer moves away from one another. Okay, we obtain nu is equal to nu prime square root of 1 minus beta square divided by 1 plus beta square. This is equal to nu prime square root of c minus nu divided by c plus nu. This is equation number 10. So this result we originally confirmed experimentally in 1938 by Eves and Stilwell. In this experiment, they have used a beam of excited hydrogen atom of definite speed and direction as the source of radiation. So the experiment was repeated in 1961 with higher accuracy by Mendelberg and Witten, again confirming the relativistic effect. So there is no transverse Doppler effect in classical physics. For transverse Doppler effect in relativity, we utilized equation 8b. Okay, we'll get 8b, that is nu is equal to nu prime square root of 1 minus beta square divided by 1 minus beta cos theta. So we set theta is equal to 90 degree and we'll get nu is equal to nu prime into square root of 1 minus beta square. This is equation number 11. If our line of straight is 90 degree to the relative motion, we should observe a frequency nu which is lower than the proper frequency nu prime. So of the source which is sweeping by us. So we have to note that the transverse Doppler effect has a simple time dilation explanation. The moving source is actually a moving clock whipped out electromagnetic oscillations. So we have seen that the moving clock appear to run slow. Consequently, we see a given number of oscillation in a time that is longer than the proper time. So we see small number of oscillation in our unit time, then it is observed in the unit time of the proper frame. So therefore, we observe a lower frequency than the proper frequency. The transverse Doppler effect is an additional physical example confirming the relativistic time dilation. So in both the Doppler effect and aberration, the theory of relativity initiates an intrinsic generalization over the classical explanation of this effect. In that the two separate cases which are different in classical theory, okay, that is the source at the rest moving observer and observer at rest moving source, are the same in relativity. So we have to note that this single derivation yields to at once three effect, namely aberration, longitudinal Doppler effect, and transverse Doppler effect. These are the references. Thank you.